The Galactic Council moved at dawn. Humanity was already in position. The attack began at dawn. Not Earth's dawn, no. The Council had calculated it precisely. The moment when human orbital rotations, patrol cycles, and communication windows aligned in the narrowest margin of vulnerability. A perfect strike. Silent. Decisive. Final. Execute, High Strategist Kelvar ordered. Across the void, thousands of Council warships surged forward in flawless synchronization. Their drives ignited without flare, their weapons charged without signal leakage. It was a masterpiece of coordination, centuries of doctrine distilled into a single moment. Earth would fall before it even realized it was under attack. At least that was the plan. Approaching engagement range, a tactical officer reported. Kelvar stood at the center of the command chamber, calm, composed, certain. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but not omniscient, not invincible. Begin target acquisition. Sensors spread across the system. Locked. And then they hesitated. Report, Kelvar said, his voice sharpening. The officer frowned at the display. I'm detecting anomalies. What kind of anomalies? A pause. Then quietly, formations. Kelvar's eyes narrowed. Impossible. We are operating under full stealth. Yes, strategist, the officer said, but they're already deployed. The main display shifted, and the illusion shattered. Human ships, hundreds of them. No, thousands. Positioned across the system in layered formations that mirrored, countered, and anticipated every vector of the Council's advance. Waiting, not scrambling, not reacting. Waiting. That's not possible, another officer whispered. Kelvar felt a cold weight settle in his chest. They knew, he said. The realization spread through the chamber like a fracture. How? Someone demanded. No answer came. Because none of them wanted to say it aloud. The humans had predicted this. Orders, the fleet commander asked, tension creeping into his voice. Kelvar stared at the tactical map, his mind racing. The Council still held the advantage in numbers, in firepower, in doctrine. But something had changed. Initiative. We proceed, he said finally. They are prepared, but so are we. The fleet accelerated, weapons charged, and the first shots were fired. The void exploded into light. Council ships unleashed coordinated volleys designed to break formations, disrupt command chains, and overwhelm defenses in seconds. But the human lines did not break. They shifted, not randomly, not chaotically, perfectly, like they had rehearsed this exact moment. Adjust targeting, the tactical officer shouted. It's not working, another replied. They're moving before we fire. Kelvar's grip tightened. They're reading us. No, the fleet commander said slowly. They're anticipating us. The difference was terrifying. Human ships moved in layered waves, each formation overlapping the next. When one line came under fire, another was already in position to respond. When a Council squadron advanced, it found itself flanked, not by chance but by design. Every move had a counter. Every strategy, expected. Then the counterattack came. Fast, precise, devastating. From the outer edges of the system, hidden platforms activated, long-range weapons firing in perfect coordination with the fleet's movements. Council ships at the rear, once considered safe, erupted into fire. They're hitting our support lines, an officer shouted. How did they? He stopped, because he already knew. They had always known. Closer to the center, human strike groups pierced through gaps that should not have existed. Small, fast, unpredictable units slipping between larger warships, striking critical systems before vanishing again. Not brute force, surgical destruction. Kelvar watched as one of their capital ships, a Fortress-class dreadnought, took a direct hit to its command core. It didn't explode immediately. It shut down, clean, controlled, erased from the battle as if it had never mattered. This is impossible, someone said. No, Kelvar replied, his voice low. This is preparation. The truth was undeniable now. The Council had planned an attack. Humans had planned the response, long before this day. Strategist, we're losing formation integrity, the fleet commander warned. Kelvar looked at the map again. What had once been a unified force was now fragmented, divided. Isolated pockets of resistance surrounded by a network of human-controlled space. They had walked into a trap, not a sudden ambush, a patient one, built over time, hidden in plain sight. Fallback positions? Kelvar asked. The answer came back immediately. Compromised. Of course they were. The humans had not just predicted the attack. They had shaped the battlefield. Every retreat vector, every safe zone,
Every contingency.
All accounted for. All units, defensive pattern Sigma, the fleet commander ordered. But even that failed, because the humans had already adapted. They shifted again, their formations tightening, closing the gaps, pressing the advantage with relentless precision. No hesitation, no wasted motion, just execution. Kelvar felt it then. Not fear, clarity. This was never about winning the first exchange, he said quietly. The officers turned to him. What do you mean? One asked. Kelvar's gaze remained fixed on the battle. They didn't prepare to stop us, he said. They prepared to end this. And they were. One by one, council ships fell. Not in chaotic destruction, but in controlled dismantling. Systems disabled, commands severed, entire vessels rendered useless before they could even respond. It was methodical, intentional, final. Hours later, what remained of the council fleet was retreating, scattered, damaged, broken. And the humans did not pursue recklessly. They followed, at a distance, maintaining pressure, ensuring the outcome. On the command deck, silence replaced chaos. Kelvar stood motionless as the last engagement reports came in. Losses beyond projection, strategies invalidated, confidence destroyed, all because of one mistake. They had believed they were acting first. A young officer spoke, his voice barely steady. Strategist, when did they prepare all this? Kelvar closed his eyes for a brief moment, then answered. The moment we became a threat. The realization settled over the room like a shadow. For humans, war did not begin with the first shot. It began with the first possibility, and they prepared accordingly. Kelvar turned back to the viewport, staring into the vastness of space, now filled with silent, watching human ships. They didn't react to us, he said. They were waiting. Far across the system, human command vessels held position, their crews calm, focused, already analyzing the next phase. Because for them, this was not the end. It was confirmation. Their predictions had been correct, their preparations sufficient, and their message delivered. Across the galaxy, the report spread, not as propaganda, not as rumor, but as undeniable fact. The Galactic Council had moved at dawn, and humanity had already been in position. Because the most dangerous truth the galaxy would ever learn was not that humans were stronger, or faster, or more advanced. It was something far worse. Humans do not wait for war to begin. They decide where it ends.